Easy solutions to 5 ConfigMan problems. Here's our next session. Hopefully I've got our Twitter handles correct this time, and I think I've got our people right this time. I know you guys, so all good there. Of course, here I have Garth in his old shirt. Garth, I think that's in your Twitter handle, so I don't know if you're ready to update that just yet, but we can get a new picture out there for you later. I am going to stop sharing so you guys can start to share, and I'm going to hit the button here to start the draw.
All right.
I agree. That isn't Bryan because Bryan's not in a onesie.
I know. Something didn't look right in that picture. Huh? Oh, look, Gary Block. Congratulations. Gary, send me that screenshot and all good. Happy day. Really appreciate it, guys. And appreciate Recast as well, guys. You guys are a sponsor today, and you guys are a second year now annual sponsor here for NWSCUG. So appreciate that, and hand over to you now.
All right.
Hopefully you can share out, and I'll be quiet.
Yeah, I'm sharing. So
you
can't hear or see me, let me know. But
all right, all good.
Thanks for everyone for being here. I'm excited to talk a little bit about Recast. Here's what we're going to cover today. We're going to do a quick intro, and then we're going to do this overview that marketing made us do. When we started doing this, they gave us literally like 10 slides, and I said, well, that's BS. I'm not doing any of that. And so I ripped out all but like the slides I think I have to keep in not to lose my job. So I pared it down, and then what Garth and I decided was like, well, I don't want to do the math of how many years combined we have spent in the admin space, but it's a lot. And so we're like, well, why don't we just talk about actual problems that people already have, talk about how those problems can get solved out of the box, right? Like we'll legitimately talk about some out of the box solutions that you don't need with Recast. And then talk about, well, here's how we've tried to make those edges smoother, right? How we try to make that easier. And then we'll have Q&A, but really you can just type it and heckle me at any time. I much prefer it that way. So my name is Bryan Dam. I am a software engineer at Recast Software. I'm not sure. Wow, I think Garth put the B as silent. Yeah, we have Ryan. We have too many Ryans now on the team. Do you want to introduce yourself, Garth? Or
sure. Well, I'm Garth Jones, formerly of EnhanceOff, now with Recast. It's been an interesting 6 months for me. And yeah, marketing made us do this thing on a Friday at 4 o'clock on the East Coast. And
it's happy hour already for Garth. All right.
Oh yeah. That's noon on a Friday.
Yeah.
So okay, like I promise, just 3 marketing slides. They're almost semi-relevant. So many people are familiar with the right-click tools, the Community Edition, and with the Enterprise, even those tools follow these sort of guidelines, things we're trying to do, right? We're trying to, they say increase productivity. I'd like to say it just tries to make your life easier. If you can do something in 2 clicks instead of 10, let's try and make that happen, right? Those are just, we're looking for those easy kind of wins where we can just put stuff where you need to see it. But then our tools, they need to scale. If you're a small org and you're running the console as domain admin, which is horrible, but like, yeah, fine, whatever. It's probably going to work. But there's very complex environments out there, multiple domains, untrusted domains. You have workgroup devices, all those kinds of things. And so that's what Enterprise takes the tools we have and then tries to make sure that they will work everywhere, even over the fast channel. So if you have a CMG and if you have a CMG in place, you can with right-click tools Enterprise, you can have our tools work over the fast channel, including on internet devices connected via CMG. Dashboards. We're going to show one of the dashboards. We have several of them. Everyone has, many vendors have dashboards. What we sort of try and focus on is it's great. We're going to show you actual objects, but then you can do what we call ourselves. You can right-click on those objects and actually go do something with them, right? It's not everyone says they have actionable insights, and we're one of the few, I think, where you can actually literally run a report or a dashboard and then actually act on that data directly. We have an automation platform, which I'll talk about, so I don't want to steal any thunder here. That's what one of the things I'll demo. We also have a kiosk manager. The idea, if you're building kiosks, again, there's lots of ways to build a kiosk, but if you want to make it simple, we're able to do that. Shift left, if there's any ServiceNow customers out there, we have begun taking the right-click tools and building them into ServiceNow via a product we call Shift Left. And Garth is going to talk about Endpoint Insights. We recently acquired EnhancedSoft, and so we're calling what we're integrating from their product suite, we're calling Endpoint Insights. And Garth is going to talk about that, so I don't want to steal his thunder. So total BS marketing slide, right? This is what our marketing people like to talk about: improved productivity and actionable insights and powerful automation. Those are words. I'll try and we'll try and show that through demos. And then I will give this one to Garth because Endpoint Insights is his baby.
Well, and I was hoping you were going to do it. It's Friday. I didn't want to do any work this afternoon. Oh, marketing picked us. But anyways, it's the Bryan and Garth show. And Endpoint Insights, who don't know, we're all about dashboards, reporting, collecting extra inventory. So things about what's your warranty of all your computers, your patch level, just inventorying user space, such as Zoom meetings and Teams and that sort of stuff. And we'll get into that a little later in this demonstration. I didn't actually read what the marketing guy said, but
yeah, nor did I. Good, we're done. That's done. Marketing slides over. So let's talk about the things Garth and I wanted to talk about. And so these are the 5 things we're sort of categories we're going to talk about. I'm going to talk about software update reporting. We're going to talk about our automation tools. Garth is going to talk about asset intelligence and inventorying stuff in user space. And then we're going to kind of tag team client health a little bit. So yeah, let's be done with the slides and let's go into demos here. Let me bring up my machine. So the first thing I want to talk about is software reporting. And this actually I actually had someone reach out to me just this morning, right, to ask about, hey, we just installed ConfigMgr, and what do you suggest for software update reporting? And it's kind of like, oh man, how much time do you have? Garth and I have literally spoken for multiple hours on this topic, and so I'm going to try to distill it down into a few minutes. But if there's any takeaway, it's like, yeah, there's absolutely reporting built into ConfigMgr. No, it's not adequate for software update reporting. And the first thing you're going to do, you're going to say, okay, well, there's software updates, compliance, overall compliance. Like, boom. This is like step 1 of things that you want. Like, what's my overall compliance? And this is exactly what the person reaching out this morning said. Hey, I want to know what's the total compliance of my entire environment. And it's like, well, this isn't it, because it's somewhat myopically stuck on this idea of a software update group and a collection. Let's pick that. It doesn't really matter. And it's not that there's no value here, but it's very, very myopic in it's looking at one update group by one collection. And that has led people to do weird things. Like they'll create a software update group that's not deployed, but it has every update in it so they can get that data. And I mean, it's just kind of ugly. It works. The numbers are mostly valid for that part. You can drill down into here, right? It's not like it's not like you can't. It's not like this stuff isn't actionable. It's just it doesn't do the things that I want in the way I'd want them to do. And it's, again, if you're talking with management types like this, there's nothing visual about this, right? There's nothing, there's no report built in on this side of things that gives you like this nice overall visibility. And so I was super excited at one point. I forget what release it was, but they came out with, I love it when the console does that. They came out with the software updates dashboard. So if you go to monitoring, overview and security, there's this software update dashboard. And I remember when I first saw this, and I got worked up, as sometimes I do. Like, I was super excited. I was like, this is awesome. Like, finally they're getting it, right? Like, they're getting the idea that users need this high level overview of knowing, hey, how compliant am I? And what kind of updates am I missing, and what KBs are missing on the most machines. Like, this is really great stuff. Like, I legitimately love this. And then it's even mildly configurable. If you go here, you can say, hey, what kind of updates do I care about? How old do they need to be? Like, that's all. Like, this is beautiful. And then you're going to do this, right? You're going to go and say, oh, great, let me, like, wait a minute, what 34 devices are non-compliant? Like, you can't. I mean, like, there's some interactivity here, but like, you can't actually get down to the machines that are non-compliant. You just know you have 34, and it's like this has been like this for a really long time, and it's I have a user voice out there. I'm like, what is this report doing? So it's beautiful. I wish it worked, but it doesn't. And so we have several dashboards we've created. There's others dealing with Active Directory, BitLocker, monitoring your content distribution, looking at your hardware and firmware. It's going to be a big one for us, I think, coming into Windows 11. Laps as well. But the one I'm talking today is the software update deployment status. So this is our attempt at making a dashboard that is configurable and visually useful. And so we can come in here, and I've ran this. We have something like 25,000 devices in our org. We have a bunch of fake devices, so all those unknowns are fake. But out of the gate here, there's no collection, there's no software update group defined. This is every device that we know of and their compliance state. And since we have a whole bunch of bogus devices, they don't show as compliant. So let me go ahead and pick a particular set of workstations, and I can go run this. And okay, so if I look at all my workstations, they don't look too good, but I can still drill this down by one or more software update groups, and then I can limit it just to deployed updates. And if I'm like, well, okay, I'm going to give people 14 days to go ahead and run that, this situation suddenly looks good, right? These are all the kinds of things that talking to when I talk to people, these are the kinds of things that they want to see in these kinds of report. That there's ability to on the fly swap it out. Here also you have the different types of updates. You can do that as well. And let me go back here. Let me get a non-compliant device. On the right here we have these are your updates, right? So this is on the right. This chart is focused on, okay, what types of updates are missing, right? It's an update focus, but you can drill down here, and here's the updates that are missing within that category, and then here's all the devices for which it's not compliant. You can, if you need to, export this to a CSV. It's this left side that is, to me, more interesting, because here's the actual devices. So here we have our 19 non-compliant devices, and I can drill down to look at all of the updates that we're reporting on and what their status is. Crucially, are they deployed or not? Right. So you might say, hey, it's not compliant. Well, yeah, there's a reason for it, because we didn't deploy that particular update. But more than that, I can hit Control A here. I can select all of these, and I can right click, and I can do all the right click tools. Right. So if I want to, okay, maybe you wouldn't do this on 19 different devices, but if I want to open up the log file or clear the cache, or I can run a remote software center to really go on these devices to look at what updates are showing up in Software Center. Like, we can do that all on the fly right from these reports. And I think that's what, for me, sets a lot of these dashboards apart, which is it's not just static reporting that you then have to go and try and push into some other system, although, if you want to export to CSV, you can. And so this was all great and dandy. And every time I've sat in plenty of sales demos, and every time we show this, if there's a manager in the demo, they're like, oh, this is awesome, and I want it. And then there's just there's this super awkward silence, because the admin in the room is like, yeah, there's no way I'm giving you this console, right? Like, there's no way I'm letting my boss have the ConfigMgr console, because I like my job. And yet not giving them might also cost you your job. So like, that was hey, we need to, this is great, but I want to give this to my boss. How to give this to this boss? And so what we've created is featured right in here. If you have the Recast management server, let's all cross our fingers that this works. So what this just did, oh yeah, don't use, did that open in? Did that just open in?
The demo guides this morning?
No, did that open in? Why did that open in? Let's be real. So what clicking that button just did, you can see it here now that we open up in a real browser, is we actually took a snapshot of that data. And when I say snapshot, what I mean is we literally took that data that we were showing and we captured it for all time. So every time somebody goes to this particular link, this is a permanent link, this is exactly the data they would see. We've captured the settings you had, we captured the software update groups and collections, all the things you had chosen. And we are now making this available in the user interface of the Recast Management Server. And if you so choose, this can also still be actionable, right? So you can give this to your manager. They don't need the console. You can also schedule these, so you can actually create trend lines. We have trend lines of this. And again, you're still down here. You still have all this. You still can drill down into the data. You can search it. Your boss, if they want to fuss with the parameters, they can still do that. But that doesn't change. You're not changing the underlying data. You're changing how you filter it. And so this is stuff I'm excited about. Like this, I'm very excited to get this ability to send reports to your manager without having to come to the console. I think that's a big win for many of our customers. So the next thing I want to talk about is that software updates. The next thing I want to talk about is automation, and there's the main way right now of doing automation. Well, it's all PowerShell, right? Like in ConfigMgr, I mean, there's a bazillion ways, I guess, of doing automation. You can start right from here. Hey, we're going to go ahead and we're going to connect with PowerShell, and you can start pounding away. And we just saw a great presentation on all the fun stuff you could do, but okay, that gets old like super duper quick. And so what we have is the scripts feature, and I forget exactly when that was released, but it's not really important at this point. Everyone who's running a supported version of ConfigMgr under software library has scripts, and so this is beautiful. You can come in here and you can create a script, and you can say, and you can write whatever crazy PowerShell you want.
Started your afternoon drinks there?
Yeah. And there you go. So we created a script. Boom. That probably, Lord knows what that's actually going to do if I deploy that to a device. I have to come in here though and improve it. So you can't just write a script and go start YOLOing it on your devices. Someone actually has to come in here and approve it. Although you can also tell it to let yourself approve your own scripts. Probably not recommended, but yeah, it's possible. And so you come in here and you can say, okay, fine. Yes, we're good. That's fine. This is good. Let's go ahead and approve that script. And once you've done that, you can now come in and you can find your devices or your device collections. And you can come in here and you can, force a habit. You can go ahead and run your script. And there you go, right? You can go ahead and test send your script away. And that's great. Like that's fine. It's for kind of very simple, straightforward scripts. Like this is beautiful. It works great. People are using this up the wazoo to do all sorts of awesome things. But let's say you're not a scripter, right? Let's say like, that's great, Bryan, but I don't know how to write PowerShell. I don't want to know, which I guess made the previous presentation awkward for you. But let's say you're just like, that's not what I'm going to do in my day-to-day job. Well, they've also come up with the community hub, right? So this was a problem. We have the script feature, we have CM pivot, we have reports, right? We have all these kind of like cool things, but they take very specialized knowledge to use. And so something they're coming out with, have come out with, and is growing by the day is the community hub. So you can actually, it's all GitHub based. You can go write your own scripts and own stuff, and you can push it up there. But the point is, you can come in here and see if somebody's already written that script for you. And so let's see if the search works. It's so. Hey, so here's a script that's just going to query and show you what kind of architecture this device is. So we can, in the community hub, we can come in here and we say, okay, let's go and load this script. Let's download it. Boom, it's done. We go to software library. We come into scripts. We see, hey, that's here. Somebody needs to approve it. So let's go ahead and approve it. And very simple script. Yeah, nothing crazy. And let's go ahead and do that. And now we can come in here on a device collection. Let me not do 23,000 devices. Let's do Grand Rapids office. I don't think there's 37 devices in the Grand Rapids office because it's me and I'm on the one computer here, but whatever, let's give it a shot. And we'll go ahead and run create device architecture. And so it's going to go run that thing. And one of the cool things, one of the things I love about this, and I'm legitimately jealous on some of the stuff I've written, and so stretch goal is if they're actually formatting the output. We'll see if these 37 devices actually give us anything interesting to watch. But yeah, there you go. So all of these devices, or 24, 25, you can see they're coming in, and we can even visualize these things. So this is super, super powerful. Not just in a get stuff done kind of way, like, hey, let's fix some stuff, but also just, hey, let's get some query. And there's CM Pivot. I could talk about CM Pivot, but there's only so much time to talk about here. But that's scripts. And again, if you're the type who wants to write PowerShell, like, this is great. Like, this is awesome. Well, I love the community hub. But I've just talked to a lot of people, again, who they don't have time or interest, and they want to try and solve some automation challenges. And so one of the things we try and do at Recast is lower the bar. We're just trying to continually lower the bar and make things easier. And so at some point, my boss, Chris Mustard, before I joined, said, well, we have all these tools, right? And I'm not going to talk about all of them, but I'm sure many of you here have the community right-click tools, and we have all these tools, and behind those tools is a whole bunch of code. The business logic, right? Like, hey, let's get system info. Well, what are the WMI classes and values and all those kinds of things to get system info? Like, all that kind of business logic is abstracted from the front end. So there's all this code just sitting back there. What if we hand wavy kind of put some UI in front of it? And that was this huge, long sort of spirit animal search. And what came out of it was Builder and Runner. And so we open up Builder here. The way I like to talk about Builder is that you can, I'm kind of lying. Oh, did that just die on me? No, where'd it go? Oh, don't do that on all systems. That's a bad idea. Did I pray to the demo guys? There we go. Come on. No. I just ran this morning. Who killed me? This is why we don't run things on DevBox. All right, 1 second. Let me go spin up my other box. This is why you don't do demos in your dev environment. I shut that down. I don't know. Well, this has gone exactly as well as I expected it to. Awkward silence.
Bryan.
Anyone want to make fun of me? Someone should just start making fun of me at this point. Oh, I didn't even know my password.
And why don't I go on to the
Just 1 second. Let me see if I can get this working. That doesn't. Yeah.
Capital P @ SSW.
No, right. I was just trying not to type my password in the username. It's like, whatever you do, don't do that. Not all systems. Don't do that. All right. Everyone cross their fingers. Come on.
Just paste your password in the chat.
No. What in the world? Okay. I'm passing.
Okay.
I'll get this working.
So,
I'm going to stop sharing, Garth.
Right.
This is exactly how I knew it. This was all going to go. One second, Garth. I got to stop presenting, I think. Go.
right, so let me show my screen. Which screen is it trying to show? What are my options for screens? Screen, screen. All right. So Bryan alluded to that we were going to talk about asset intelligence, and it's a little bit of a misnomer of what he wanted to talk about asset intelligence. One of the problems that we see is because of hardware inventory and the way hardware inventory works, there's a setting in hardware inventory where when you run your inventory, the maximum size can be 5 megs. When you exceed 5 megs, what ends up happening is your inventory is rejected and you start again, and it resends that whole thing. So let me, of course, I'm using a different demo environment than Bryan. And of course, apparently this one's running slow here too. Apparently I didn't pray enough to the gods as well. Oh, here we are, come on. So what ends up happening is your inventory data loader will show a ton of error messages. So I've clearly set this thing up to reject all the inventory on here if it's over a particular size limit. So if you don't notice in here, I've set it down to 12,000, 13,000 bytes, which is ridiculously small, but I was doing this deliberately to show the example. So is important for you is that you're consuming network resources, your site server resources, and all the rest of this stuff. Not too long ago, after a discussion I had with DGEM and company, they've taken the 5 meg limit and moved that up to 10 meg, but they still regularly hit the max MIF size. So what I suggest people do is they go into their primary site, they open up under HKey local machine software, Microsoft, SMS components, SMS inventory data loader, find this max MIF reg key. And because I'm not going to type in what 50 megs is, I'll put it in here as a hex. And what you end up doing is restarting your SMS exec service. And what that will do is take your max MIF size from 5 meg or 10 meg now to 50 meg. You can't go beyond 50 meg. If your MIF files are beyond 50 meg, let me know. The reason why I want to know is I've been having discussions with the product team that this really needs to be upgraded to. You know, I was really trying to get it into the gig range, and that wasn't going to fly, but 250 gigs would be a nice point. And the point being is that you're sending the MIF files from your clients to your management point, to your site server, being rejected, and then your site server is telling your client, go send a full inventory again. So you end up on this infinite loop on this. So I encourage you guys to go off and do that. But once you actually, so this environment actually has a CAS. So I'm actually going to run the right-click tools from the CAS. And what I recommend you do once you actually set your 50 meg is you go off and run a full hardware inventory on all of your computers, or at least the ones that are not giving you up-to-date hardware inventory. We'll just go off and trigger a full hardware inventory on all your computers across the board. So how does this come into play when it comes to asset intelligence? Well, a lot of people will go, oh, asset intelligence, I'm going to go edit all of the classes on asset intelligence. And they come in and check all of the check boxes because, you know, more is better, of course. And you know, they start to learn after a little while that all of these classes are really great, except for this SMS shortcut. This SMS shortcut one is the one that will make your hardware inventory bloat, particularly on a Citrix server or terminal server. And I believe I've heard the maximum of about 200 megs the MIF file will grow to. And all this is doing is looking at all the shortcuts that exist on a particular server and returning them to Configuration Manager so you can do inventory. You'll notice that as you hover over it, the tooltip says that there are currently no reports using this thing. So this is why I recommend turning on everything but that singular asset intelligence class. So this is what will get you more data within your environment, tell you more about your computers, and also get you things like your installed software, which is the asset intelligence, inventorying your computer versus using the add remove programs data. That's what the asset intelligence node in that agenda that Bryan brought up was all about. Was what we have found in my years of answering questions in the forums is all about will regularly exceed their hardware inventory, and that's the quickest way to fix your hardware inventory is to increase the max MIF side and then force a full hardware inventory on all of your machines. The second thing that Bryan brought up is all about user inventoried software. So I'm actually going to have to use the same demo lab that Bryan was just having fun with. But before we get there, let's go talk about control panel and uninstalling a program. What I want to show you in here is, let me just go. This way. Now can I go zoom? What I want to show you on here is it says Chrome on this particular PC. I'm also going to scroll down the list and let me try that again. It also says Firefox on this particular machine. Why this is really important is if I go up and I go to my, let's go to the Grand Rapids collection and I find that computer. I go to Start Resource Explorer, I go to Hardware Inventory, and I go to, what is it, Installed Applications. And if I scroll through the installed and I go Fire, spell Fire correctly, apparently there's no Firefox. Well, let's go for Chrome. So no Chrome. All right, so that's the 32-bit. Let's do the same thing, but on the 64-bit. So we go Fire. Okay, so there's Firewall, but no Firefox. So let's go Chrome. So why is that? Why are we having the Chrome and Firefox show up on my machine, but not on Configuration Manager? The answer is really simply that Configuration Manager only inventories software that's installed per user, not installed per, installed per computer, not installed per user. This is where the Endpoint Insights comes into play. So Endpoint Insights extends your inventory within SCCM and will inventory more data on that computer. So we can see some of the various classes that you can inventory on here, but more importantly, I want to go down to the user class. And this is where you can see that same Firefox, Chrome, and apparently OneDrive are all installed under a user context. And if I scroll over, you can see it's installed by me on these particular computers. And this is where Endpoint Insights can get you more information about the data within your environment. And just to extend upon that, install Endpoint Insights, it will create a couple of folders. One of the folders is the software dashboard. And if I go down to that Grand Rapids office, and I look at, what is it, Google, and then I look at Chrome, we can see that there are 11 versions of it. But if I actually click on the version number on here, not only will we see that this particular machine, my machine, has it installed for, has a user, but we also have just about every other machine that have machines in here has it installed as a per computer. This is where you've got the insights of how things are, or that. Therefore, what software is installed, it doesn't matter if it's a computer or a user for this whole thing. I can't see the chat, so let me go quickly over and see if there's anything big going on there other than the it's great to have a cast, particularly when there's 40 computers in that lab. And demo on RAID 10. Well, mine is definitely RAID 10, but it is not SSD. That one. At a high level, that's all I wanted to say about user installed software. Configuration Manager is not very good at inventorying. You can go off and look for community scripts on this sort of stuff, but they all have their limitations on it. This is where the endpoint insights comes into play. It allows you to inventory that on a regular basis and get your details within Configuration Manager. This is where we're supposed to go into the combined discussion there, Brian, of us and the client health. Did you want to start with that one, or do you want me to start leading on that?
Yeah, I'll do that. I also got, that's why I have not one, not two, but 3 environments at my disposal, because I actually managed it.
Let me stop sharing here as soon as I can find the.
Yeah, I got you. Don't worry.
All right,
okay.
perfect.
So I won't belabor the point because this demo clearly has already failed so beautifully and miserably. I love failure. It's always fun. So Builder, the idea is we have all this code, and these are all the actions that sit behind all the front end. And what they allow you to do is just drag them. You can drag these into the graph here, and you can just start linking these things together, right? So we start here and we say, hey, let's ping this. Oh, what did I just click on? We can go ping that computer, and then we're going to go run the client information tool, and then we're going to go, in this case, start a task sequence. So it's actually looking for the reboot machine because this is a demo we have in the other environment. But the point is, you can actually put conditions on here, right? So it's like, hey, we're gonna start out, and we're gonna go ahead and ping this machine, and then, well, if it's successful, right? Like if we can add this conditions that, hey, if we actually get a response, then we're gonna go run the client information tool, and if that returns, hey, that a reboot is needed, we'll go do another thing, right? So you don't need to know how to write PowerShell to make all this stuff happen. And if you need to, it's there. We do have a you can run a PowerShell script block, and you can take inputs, parameters, and you can poop out output, which you can then again put conditions on. But if you want to do something more than just straightforward, hey, we're going to do boom, boom, boom. We're going to delete this file and replace this. If you want to put conditions on there and you want to start linking stuff together, this is where Builder. That's what Builder really lowers that bar when it doesn't completely and utterly crash on you during a demo. Let's see if runner then. So what you would do here is you would come in and you run it on one or multiple devices. And oh yeah, it's going to do it. No, this is my own machine. There we go. Just got to be patient. You can go ahead and run this, and if you have Recast Management Server, you could actually schedule these. So we actually have people that use this for labs, for instance. They want to make sure that their machines are powered down or rebooted, right? So they have an education space, and so they will create. They've created a runner automation, and they run it against a collection. And so every time that it runs, it either makes sure that the machine's off, turns it off, and if it needs updates, it installs updates. Like they just have some kind of common maintenance things that they always want to run on these lab machines at an off-hour time. And so those are the kind of things you can do with Runner. All right, so that was a train wreck. Let's talk about client health. So where should I start here? Let's start with what's built into the product. So I think in the 1902 release or something like that, if you come into monitoring here and you look at client health, we have this client health dashboard, and this is awesome. If you're not using this, if this isn't part of your, I don't know, weekly, maybe not monthly, or maybe not daily, but it's really monthly. Like this is beautiful. This is a beautiful thing. This is looking at all your clients that are installed and trying to give you some information about how successful or unsuccessful they are. I should actually switch over to the demo environment.
And how many clients were in that environment?
Well, that's the thing. This is my local environment, so I think I have all of 3. So let me go back here because
I thought your all systems collection had almost 500 devices in it.
Yeah, but those are fake clients. Those aren't real clients. This is why marketing shouldn't let us do this, by the way. They should just fire us.
Wow, you know.
Right. Client health dashboards. There we go. A little more interesting data here. And so you can pick a collection. You can say, hey, we're only going to report on devices that have, reported in an X number of days. Offline clients, I'm not 100% sure what that means, but you get some other interesting stuff. Like you get some good stuff. Hey, what version of the client are they on? What version of Windows are they on? And what I like about this is, unlike the software update dashboard that I railed on before, like this is legitimately, actionable. You can actually come in here and you can say, hey, okay, we got a failure, and it's a little kind of wonky. You have to like double click on the failure part of the bar, but hey, here you go. It creates this what they call a temporary node and got all their devices. And now you might do something like, hey, okay, we were saying that hardware inventory busted, and Garth goes and fixes it, right? He just made his MOF fix. And so we want to go ahead and run that right now. And we can do that. We can go to client actions. Some people might ask why we keep these in here. And to be perfectly honest, we ask ourselves that too sometimes. But it boils down to 2 things. One is what hopefully you're about to see, which is we'll actually ask you this question. So if you do it in the console, which is fine, like don't get me wrong, like absolutely, yeah, it's great to use it. We'll actually do a full hardware inventory cycle or a full whatever scan or whatever those things are, right? We actually give you that option. You can do a delta. So normally, if you kicked off a hardware inventory cycle, it's just going to look for changes. This is saying, no, we're going to run a full scan on all those devices for right now. And then immediately we'll start giving you the feedback, right? We'll start telling you like, hey, we did or didn't run this on this device. And again, this is where enterprise can come into play, which is, if you have devices that are connected via CMG, you don't have line of sight. Well, we can route that over the CMG and run it on the fast channel. If you have workgroup devices that have no, you might have network connectivity, but you don't have any trust on those devices, right? How do you run something on those? We have a small agent now you can put on those, and that'll run that way. So there's all sorts of ways to get those things down to the device. So that's all fun and good. I like that dashboard. You can't talk about client health, I feel, without talking about some of the community scripts that are out there. So Jason Sandes, ex-MVP, wrote a very well-used startup script. So hey, your machine starts up and it goes runs a bunch of stuff. I think the newer hotness and the one that I ran in my environment is Anders Rollins. He has this ConfigMgr client health script. It's PowerShell based, and it's up in GitHub if you want to go submit stuff. I've actually done that, and he's pulled in things. And I don't have time to tell you all the cool things this thing does, but like everybody should be running one of these 2. And if you need help along that line, on my blog, damngooddomain.com. Actually went through like, hey, here's at my environment. Here's how I installed this and run it, which isn't like the only way. Like I want to say there's a bunch of different ways to get this script down and to make it run, and there's reporting. And so I'm not saying this is the way to do it, but I had some very specific That's right. After you need to. Yes, if you have those XP machines and you're worried about client health, oh man, you laugh. But I remember when I started at this org, they had some XP machines, and I think ConfigMgr at some point like got to a point in current branch where they're like, yeah, we don't support XP, and they're like, and I had, now people could look me up at LinkedIn where this was. Let's just say there was credit card information involved, and it was like, yeah, we shouldn't have XP machines, but like, yeah, but we just got a great deal on them. No, it wasn't one machine. It was like scales. That's right. It wasn't credit card. It was like there's these scales. I'm like, well, we got a great deal on them. We just bought them 6 months ago. I'm like, what are they running? Embedded XP. It's like, and they're like, well, does the software center work on that? It was like, no, I don't think so. And sorry, that was a huge aside, but yes, you'll need to install PowerShell on your XP machines, run the help script. If you don't, though, I mean, like, legitimately, like you say, there's a joke, Ryan, and I understand it, but like that's actually one of the arguments for that Jason would make for his startup script. It's Visual Basic, which runs on literally a brick, right? Like Visual Basic runs everywhere, and you don't need to worry about prereqs. Anyways, I'll shut up, and I'll let Garth talk about.
So click on the client health dashboard for me, since you've already got it up. So one of the things that Endpoint Insights ended up doing is being able to review your entire environment. And when Bryan actually says fake clients, we've created an internal tool at Recast that allows us to have over 20,000, for all intents and purposes, they're real devices out there. The only thing that we can't do is they don't actually, we can't run actions against them. They give us hardware inventory, they give us software inventory, they do all of that stuff. And I'd even said that the evil software inventory, but that's a different discussion. So our Endpoint Insights thing is reviewing your entire environment. And we can see, for an example, that there are 16,000 that are missing the client. We can see that we have 4 computers that are having policy. We can see that we got different versions of clients out there. And we can see that some have got errors and some are not. Each of these allow us to drill down on all of this thing. And this is where the whole marriage between the EnhancedSoft and Recast will come into play. I cannot say when or if or how long, but I can see a lot of this stuff that the EnhancedSoft team did that brought into Endpoint Insights will eventually make it into the Recast. One of the things I wanted to show you was the second dashboard, which is the software update dashboard. And one of the things that I love about this particular dashboard is just that you can see things like how many computers are rebooting, and you can actually click on the links and see the number of computers. But for an example, we can see that the last WUS scan on this thing is the 14th, which is 2 days ago. That means that our test environment is not scanning or syncing for WUS every day. It's syncing WUS. I should say WSUS. WSUS every.
We're inclusive here. You say what you want to say.
Well, you know, I get in trouble for saying that. So WSUS. So click on the 9 for me, and what this is going to show you is all the software updates that. Oh, you got to refresh your.
I got to refresh it.
Time out. So now click the 9. So this is going to show you all the software updates that you have in your environment that you haven't deployed, that's required by 1 or more of your computers. And you can drill through and see which computers make up that environment and all the rest of that sort of stuff. I didn't actually want you to do that one, but it's a different story for that one. But the point being is that
I'm not the only one who failed.
Yeah, I know.
Although I am the single point of failure.
Yeah, exactly. So the point being is that the Endpoint Insights is going to give you a lot more insights into your environment, and we get our best ideas from guys like you. So we might be running long. So
no, I think we're right on time. That's good.
So okay. Good, because sir, are there any other questions other about WOOF-B?
No. There was a question earlier about. We'll see if there's any questions. I'll go back to the totally professional slide deck that we have. There was a question about the community hub.
Oh yes.
The extension to the community hub, and that's a great question. Yeah, several TPs. What was it? TP 2102 or something like that. They released a feature set for putting console extensions into Community Hub, and so we worked our butt off to try and get in there, and we did, and then we got hung up huge on internal Microsoft security. They basically blocked us. There's no other way of saying it. They shut it down for a while, and only recently now, I think I just heard in the last couple of days that they're actually going to greenlight that. So real soon now is the answer. Is we should be able to be deploying the right-click tools via the Community Hub, and part of that. Part of the reason for that is that it can actually become a hierarchy thing, right? So instead of having to download our MSI, and if you have a bunch of admins with their own consoles and trying to make sure that stays up there and stays up to date, literally consumes it at a hierarchy level. So you say, hey, we're going to when I was showing you the Community Hub earlier and we were downloading a script, same thing. You would download the latest version of right-click tools, and actually, you know what? Let me see if I have to.
All of this non-NDA?
No. This is all in. No, that's not NDA. This is all.
Just checking.
This is all in TP. The technical preview. Anybody who wants to download technical preview, which is where I have So in Community Hub, you can see. We'll see if it loads. And we'll go to our downloads here. Should see. There you go. You can see we have the right-click tools. That's installed, and then, but it's controlled, right? So when I downloaded this, it didn't actually install anything, right? Nothing actually changed. All that changed was if you come into administration, and I think it's under here, console. There's a new node called console extensions, and you can see here there's the right-click tools, and there's a version. And so in here you can do a few things. So right off the bat, you have to approve it, right? So that you can approve or revoke it. So the first two are saying, hey, we're going to approve or revoke approval. So before you can install it anywhere, you have to approve it. If you revoke it, it will automatically get removed, or will it just straight up get blocked? It just won't get loaded, that's for sure. Enable notifications or disable, that's talking about these guys right here, right? So what's going to happen is you say, hey, we're going to enable notification, and someone will say, hey, look at this little yellow thing and say, hey, you have a console extension to install or update, and it'll go do that. You can also locally just push the install, right? So this is where we talked with them on an earlier we iterated with them early on this, and one of those things we said was, well, people aren't going to want to just go approve it and then enable notifications before they install it the first time, right? Like people are going to want to test this before they release it, right? Just like you would any other app. And so we got them to add this install and uninstall. So this allows you to come in, and before you deploy it, before you enable notifications, you can install it just on this one console. You would approve it, you would install it, you would verify it, and then you would say, hey, okay, let's go ahead and enable notifications and open it all up. So yeah, the question is when? Soon, like days. Or what should I say? I don't think it's NDA that this will be released in a upcoming release of the Community Hub, and Community Hub gets different releases than ConfigMgr, right? They're actually separate tracks, and so in a upcoming release, this should be released. And that I don't think that's an NDA. When they did the TP, we talked about, hey, Recast, we're in there. Go check this out, and it failed. Our first release failed because I screwed something up, but it should be working out.
So
Any other questions?
Yes, there's a question in the chat.
Okay.
TP to prod timing.
Yeah, that's what I was just that's what I was just talking, right? Like when will this hit prod? And it's soon, like days, as far as I know. Yeah. Mark Sylvie actually would be your one. If you want to hit it up anyone, push Mark Sylvie.
He's on Twitter as well, and he's fairly active as well.
Yeah.
So, was there anything else we wanted to talk about?
No, we talked about way too much already. Failed too much.
So
you never fail too much.
Thank you.
So,
sorry.
All right,
Greg.
thanks. That was a good time. Sorry,
That was
Greg.
fantastic, guys. Appreciate it.